Hello everybody and welcome to today's live stream. My name is Elliot Brandon. I'm a physiotherapist here at On Your Game and I'm going to be running the live stream today. So I'm going to leave a couple minutes just for some people to flow in and then we'll get into it. So today's topic is going to be about nutrition and your health with a main focus on sort of musculoskeletal health and the reason why nutrition is so important for it, because it's a bit of a topic where some people don't understand how it might be linked to the musculoskeletal health, but that's kind of what we're going to run through today and what we're going to discuss today. So again, I'll leave a couple minutes and then we'll get started. Any questions at all you have during it or after, please pop them in the comments and I can reply to them. Perfect. What we'll do then is we'll get started and I'll be discussing nutrition and your health and specifically your musculoskeletal health. So let's get started on talking a bit about nutrition and the basics of nutrition so we have a bit of an understanding about some of the things I might mention throughout this video and live stream. So first of all, what is a calorie? So when we consume food and we eat food, obviously they're all broken down into calories, and a singular calorie by itself is just a metric of energy. So the amount of calories that we consume within a portion or serving, then that's the amount of energy we're receiving from that meal. So a calorie surplus is essentially when you're going to be increasing in your weight. So what this means is that you're basically simply consuming more calories than you are burning. So when you're eating the food, you're not burning off the same amount of calories through exercise. That means you're going to increase in weight. So a calorie deficit is the opposite. So it's when you're burning more calories than you're eating or you're consuming. So say for example, you're eating 2,000 calories a day, but you're burning off 2,800 calories through exercise, you're going to lose weight because you're in a calorie deficit. And then maintenance is when you're eating the same amount of calories than you're burning. So you're going to maintain your weight. And essentially that's kind of how calorie counting works and how calories work overall. It just helps to increase weight, decrease weight, or maintain weight. Again, depending on what your goals are. And we'll run in a bit more into that today as well. So first of all, we'll talk a little bit about macronutrients. So macronutrients is what's going to form the majority of your diet, and this includes carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So these are the three main macronutrients that we're going to discuss and talk about the benefits, why they're important, and things like that as well. So to start off with, carbohydrates, they are the main source of energy for your body. And carbohydrates are very important for fueling our body for exercise and for any day-to-day activity that we do. Examples of carbohydrates include rice and pasta. So again, carbohydrates in simple terms equates to energy. So again, it can break down into different things into your body, including glucose. And this is what provides us with energy for our muscles, for our tissues, for our cells as well, for us to do the day-to-day activities that we're doing. Secondly, we have proteins. So proteins are very important for muscle building, as you will know, but proteins are broken down into amino acids, and this is crucial for recovery and repairing and building of tissues. So again, when we're training in the gym, when we're exercising, when we're lifting weights, all that kind of stuff, when we're eating protein after, this is what's going to help us to rebuild and repair our muscles the best as possible. But of course, if you do have an injury or you have a muscle strain or any kind of injury to tissues or anything like that, the protein can help to rebuild and repair these sites, similarly to how it would work with building muscle and repairing muscular tissue. But overall, protein is really, really important for building and repairing that tissue, particularly within the muscle itself. And examples of this include chicken, eggs, any form of meat source, but we'll go into a bit more depth on that as well as we move forward. So fats. So what are fats? Fats is another source of fuel and energy for the body. Carbohydrates take priority over that. So our carbohydrate stores are what we use first, and then we go into our fat stores after. But again, it's just another fuel and energy system and energy source for our bodies. These can be broken down into saturated and unsaturated fats, often known as healthy fats as well. But unsaturated fats are the ones that are seen as the healthy fats and can help to lower cholesterol and also reduce inflammation, which again is really important for musculoskeletal health, which we'll again dive a bit more deeper into. An example of highly saturated fats food is bacon, for example, crisps, for example. These are all kind of examples of things that are high in saturated fats and things that can increase that inflammation. again, which we'll delve a bit further into as well. An example of unsaturated fats is avocado. So the healthy fats you kind of see, avocado is a good benefit for that. So as I said, the main bulk of our diet will consist of these 3 macronutrients. So you're probably thinking, what has this got to do with musculoskeletal pain? What has this got to do with my body, my muscles, all this kind of stuff? And we're about to dive into that now as well. Any questions, as I said, please drop them down below. So firstly, I'm going to talk a little bit about hydration. So hydration can help with the lubrication of the joints and the nutrient supply as well. So within our joints, we have something called synovial fluids. Within our synovial joints, we have synovial fluid. An example of this is within the knee. So within the knee, we have this fluid that sits in between the joint, and it helps to glide smoothly when we're doing movements. So when we are hydrated well, the synovial fluid it has a lot of fluidity and allows that knee movement to be fluid and allow it to flow freely. Obviously, when we lack that hydration, some of this lubrication of the joints can be limited, particularly if we're someone who's doing a lot of exercise in the gym, a lot of training. Being dehydrated can just reduce a bit of that fluid within the joint, and also can limit some muscle function as well, which we'll dive a bit further into. The hydration can also help with nutrient supply as well. So it allows for electrolytes, all different kinds of nutrients, sodium, to be transported around our body. So when we're nice and hydrated, this allows for a more efficient system, and can be more difficult if we are dehydrated. It's more difficult for them nutrients to be supplied to our tissues. Again, as I briefly touched on before, inflammation. This is a key point within nutrition and within our musculoskeletal health as well. Of course, a good diet can help us to reduce inflammation globally around our body, within our cells, but what we're kind of looking at here is the joints. So particularly with conditions such as arthritis and conditions that we get a lot of swelling in, so rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, things like that. When we're nice and hydrated and we have a low level of inflammatory response, then we're going to get a bit less swelling in the joints, which overall is going to help with our mobility, our movement, and in general just reduce that swelling and inflammation. If we have our ultra highly processed diet of foods, then we're going to have more inflammation, more swelling within the joint, and it can be just reduce that mobility a bit. And again, managing these symptoms is very important with the long-term kind of conditions. So a good diet is going to be really beneficial for that in the long run, and managing it in the long run. So another point about why diet is so important for musculoskeletal health. It can help with weight management as well. So as I mentioned at the start, consuming an amount of calories which is less than what you're burning. Again, this is going to help to lose weight and be in a calorie deficit, which overall is going to put less load onto your joints. So say, for example, you're someone who has a bit more weight placed around their body, then it's just going to put some more load onto the joints. What we need to do is combine some strength training to really strengthen up the surrounding muscles, and also to help with some of the weight management as well, just so we can reduce a bit of that load that's being placed on our knees, hips, lower back, and other surrounding joints as well. What we're going to move on to next is a bit more about sort of micronutrients as well. So micronutrients have great anti-inflammatory effects, as I've kind of mentioned previously. A lot of antioxidants which can help with the inflammatory response and reduce that inflammation within the joints. Hydration and water contains electrolytes and sodium, which is really, really important for muscle function, for our body's nervous system to work optimally, but also for our general health as well, because anti-inflammatory sort of foods and antioxidants, these can really help to our overall immune system, our overall immune response and inflammatory response as well. So what we're also going to talk about as well is some tissue repair and healing. So as I mentioned before about the protein and why that's so important for muscle, adequate nutrition is essential for the body's ability to repair damaged tissues. So this includes muscles, tendons, ligaments, and also bones. And of course, nutrients like proteins, vitamin C and zinc are vital for this tissue regeneration. So we have to be adequately supplying ourselves with enough food, enough nutrition, to really help repair these tissues, to really help to repair our body's healing process. And again, this is even more vital at a period of time where you're suffering from an injury or you have a lot of pain at that specific time. It can be really helpful to manage that as well. So what we're going to talk about next is collagen production. So collagen is key within connective tissues. So nutrients again like vitamin C, amino acids, which you can get from protein sources, and copper are really helpful for collagen synthesis. And this is particularly important, as I mentioned, if you have an injury or injury to the connective tissues in your body, collagen is vital for the healing process of these tissues. So say, for example, we have an injury to a ligament, a tendon, a bone, anything like that. What will happen is, as that tissue starts to repair, starts to build itself up again, collagen will lay down over that tissue, and it will have to rebuild and repair appropriately. So again, really trying to help this with our diet is going to really benefit that process and help not to delay that healing process and time. So again, similarly with bone health, works in similar ways to that collagen, but having an adequate amount of calcium within your diet, again, vitamin D and vitamin K also, is going to be really helpful for maintaining strong bone health. And again, really important during bone healing. But what this is also going to do is, if someone is going to prevent the risk of osteoporosis in the future, or if you do have osteoporosis, it's going to help to sort of manage that condition and really try and strengthen up them bones and increase that bone density as well. So talking a little bit more about muscles now. Muscles require protein for growth and repair, as we've already kind of touched on. And ensuring an adequate protein intake is crucial for rebuilding this damaged muscle tissue. The muscles also use glycogen as a form of energy. And glycogen and glucose is what carbs are broken down into when we consume them. And having a good amount of carbohydrates in your diet can help to fuel muscles for the exercise and training that you're doing. But not only this, it's going to help with your day-to-day activities. So say, for example, you're someone who has a job which are doing a lot of manual work, a lot of labour, a lot of lifting, things like that. If you're not adequately consuming enough carbohydrates, or in general all of the macronutrients and micronutrients, then it's just going to be more difficult to maintain that energy throughout the day. Your muscles haven't got enough, as much energy to pump and fuel yourself for doing them activities. And again, this can go from just your work, if you've got a physical job, or especially if you're doing exercise and stuff that's going to take a lot out of your body and use a lot of energy. So what we've also got as well is immune support. So as I mentioned briefly about the inflammatory response and nutrition's ability to help with that, a well-balanced diet that's rich in vitamins, minerals and antioxidants supports a strong immune system, which is vital for preventing infections that can hinder the healing process. So again, if for example we have an injury within a joint or a part of our body, having a really good diet can help to prevent infections, which can delay that healing process. But also what it's going to do is help with that inflammatory response. So inflammation is normal within joints after an injury specifically, but again, chronic inflammation and inflammation that lasts for a long period of time is not something that we want to have over that period of time. Again, a little bit of inflammation is normal after an acute injury or a short period of injury. Again, if you do have sort of conditions which are going to affect that inflammatory response, that's also something to be aware of as well. But having a good diet really helps to manage and stay on top of things in terms of inflammation. Also, in general, for more general health, what having a good diet does really boost that immune system, helps with sort of fighting off general colds, COVID, things like that. Anything that's sort of putting your immune system at a bit of a compromise, having a good diet can help to fight that off a bit better, a bit easier, and be beneficial for you in the long run. So also, as I mentioned briefly about electrolytes which are found in water, again, these can include stuff like sodium, which is going to be really beneficial for your performance with exercise, but also just your day-to-day function. Electrolytes are really important for brain function, nervous system function, but also can prevent some muscle cramping as well, and allow your muscles to function efficiently and allow the right signaling to get to the muscle to appropriately do the exercise you're performing, or even, as I mentioned before, just working and going about your day-to-day life. Perfect. So again, for some more general health stuff, energy production is going to be really beneficial. So a proper nutrition really provides the body with the necessary macronutrients that we need to generate energy for daily activities. And again, this needs to be balanced across all forms of macronutrients and micronutrients, just so we can get little bits of benefits from each part of the macronutrients. So again, things I've mentioned, we want enough carbs to give us energy, we want enough protein to really repair and rebuild their muscle tissues, and we want enough fats as well to help with that nervous system function, and really allow for us to get them calories in and help with our energy throughout the day. So again, nutrient-rich foods, particularly those high in fibre, can help to reduce the risk of heart disease by lowering cholesterol and maintaining blood pressure as well. So again, really having these nutrient-rich foods can go further than just helping with musculoskeletal health. It can help our general health and our overall body composition and things like that, which is just going to benefit us in the long run and really help with our longevity with exercise and with our general health. Fibre is also a really important nutrient for our digestion. It can help to thicken our stools and really help to reduce constipation. So having enough fibre in our diet is going to be really beneficial for that. And again, sort of this can something that needs to be balanced across our whole diet, across our whole nutrient platform to really help to get the benefits from each as best as possible. So another factor which some people might not think of, or which is a bit more of a niche topic, is brain health and our mood. So food and nutrition has such a big impact on our overall health, but also our mood, our mental health, and our ability to kind of have that energy during the day. Not only physical energy, but also that mental clarity and energy as well. So the nutrition impacts brain health and cognitive function. And there's also been some research to suggest that omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and certain vitamins can support brain health. And some research has shown that it may reduce the risk of cognitive decline. So again, of course, this isn't going to be the only factor which is going to benefit you and reduce the risk of cognitive decline or reduce the risk of some neurodegenerative diseases. It's got to be a combination of exercise, nutrition, sleep, and a combination of other factors which are going to really benefit you to reduce that risk. But nutrition is really up there with allowing for benefits for protecting this neurodegenerative health and preventing some of these diseases that come alongside that. But again, it's got to be a combination of all these things that we've discussed about in the lives previously. But again, nutrition is a big point of that. So again, mood and mental health, another thing we're going to touch on again because it's so important and it's really beneficial through diet. So certain nutrients such as omega-3 fatty acids, which I already discussed on a little bit, B vitamins and antioxidants are associated with improved mood and may help manage conditions like depression and anxiety. A well-balanced diet can also help to improve mental clarity and give you energy throughout the day. So as I mentioned, having a well-balanced diet is really going to give you all the benefits from the different nutrients that I've explained, and going to give you that energy, mental clarity through the day, and also reduce brain fog as well. But on the other hand, a diet which is highly processed can lead to a decreased mood and brain fog as well. So oftentimes people feel a bit foggy or they get tired throughout the day, they have a crash. So again, if you've got a diet that's sort of high in sugar levels, high in ultra processed foods, then a lot of people can get a really big high blood sugar spike, and then this can crash down quite low after that. And again, that's why a lot of people can get that crash during the day, or they feel a bit tired and lack energy through the day. And finally, eating a balanced diet with an emphasis on whole nutrient dense foods can contribute to the longer and healthier life by reducing the risk of chronic diseases, whether that's heart disease, whether that's neurodegenerative disease, whether that's musculoskeletal injuries or conditions which cause you to decline. Overall, just promoting great well-being and overall improved function positively. So again, just a bit of a summary, kind of what we've gone through today. We've ran through what the macronutrients are, so the main three being proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. We ran through a bit about what a calorie is and how to monitor your calories depending on what your goals are. We've also touched on some benefits of macronutrients, micronutrients, and a well-balanced diet. Again, the main ones kind of being proteins for the repair of muscles and tissues, and overall the connective tissue and the healing process. We've got carbohydrates to help with energy to fuel us for day-to-day activities and exercise. And we also have fats as well, which are going to benefit sort of, pardon me. But we have fats as well, which are going to help with that nervous system function, but also give us energy throughout the day. And again, some of the micronutrients I spoke about, water being one of them. This is going to help with the hydration of our joints, but also really help with that muscle function through electrolytes and things like that. And also some of the antioxidants and vitamins and minerals. That's really going to help with the inflammation and inflammatory response, particularly if you're someone with a more long-term or chronic disease or condition such as arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, or osteoporosis and stuff like that. Again, a well-balanced diet is going to be really beneficial at managing some of these conditions as well. And finally, again, about the benefits that it can have for mental health, for mood. Nutrition and a really well-balanced diet can help with our mood, our mental clarity, reduce brain fog, and an array of different areas as well. So again, I hope you learned something from today. We've touched on some nutrition stuff for musculoskeletal health. And again, if there's any questions or things that you want to hear from us in the future, then please drop a comment or leave a comment after the live stream's finished, and we can work on that and get onto that. Again, as I said, please leave any questions that you have below. Perfect. So, as I said, I spoke today about nutrition and your musculoskeletal health and general health. Please leave comments below, anything you want to see in the future, any questions you might have that you think would be interesting for a live stream topic, please drop them below and we can get back to you on that. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great Monday evening, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.